Now, you may be asking why I'm making this video, and I'll tell you right now, I don't hate Heroes. In fact, I love Fire Emblem Heroes because I love Fire Emblem. What I hate is the state the game is currently in. I want this game to thrive, and that's why I feel like I need to talk about its problems. Whenever a child is misbehaving, it's the parent's job to set them straight so they don't end up worse in the future. So, with that logic, I want to use my voice here on YouTube to influence others to speak up about the game's problems to hopefully bring the positive changes the game needs. With that being said, let's get into it. To start, we're going to talk about the two major things I think is giving the game the bad rep it's been getting for the past couple of months, and that's the PvE content and Arena. And we're going to talk about PvE content first. We're going to start off by talking about Tempest Trials and Forging Bonds. I'll be very blunt, these modes are very boring. I don't know about you, but doing these modes for me usually consist of doing my daily bonus runs and then auto-battling the entire way through. And it gets really repetitive really fast. So one suggestion I have is, why not combine the two modes? Alright, now hear me out on this. For Forging Bonds, I love how you can get support combos for new units. There's very little unit interaction in this game. You only just have their voice lines and their level 40 conversation, and that kind of leaves you wanting more, and that's where I think Forging Bonds is able to fill in that gap. I actually quite enjoy only that aspect of it. And I also enjoy the grinding aspect of Tempest Trials. Now, Forging Bonds is already very similar to Tempest Trials, so I think combining the two modes would produce something very great. Now, like other gacha games like Fate Grand Order or recently Dragalia Lost, any events or raids consist of you going through a short story. So for Heroes, I would imagine it would be around maybe 7 maps long. After each map, you would maybe get some support combos here and there, and when you finish the initial story, you can play the traditional Tempest Trial mode and go through the maps back to back for points to get rewards. You know, I think this would kind of spice it up and make the mode a lot more fun. Because for regular Tempest Trials, it's kind of just the same thing, the same kind of story. You know, Marth asks the hero for help, and the hero's like, oh, well, you know, I'll help you because I'm a good guy and I do good things. And that's pretty much all there is to it. So I think adding something more to Tempest Trials, story-wise, would be interesting. And another suggestion I have for this new mode, or for Tempest Trials if they don't do this, is to add a new Infernal difficulty. Maybe instead of going through 7 maps, we would go through 10 maps for the Infernal mode. And with a bonus unit, we could get up to 1,000 points. I think putting this mode in would kind of satisfy players like myself who like a challenge. And, you know, if you're not up for the mode, you can just do Lunatic 5 or Lunatic 7. Either way, it would still kind of favor auto battle, which is unfortunate, but I don't really think there's a way to fix the fact that Tempest Trials heavily favors doing auto battles. And the last suggestion I have for these modes is to increase the rewards to give more incentive to players to try to go for the top 1,000. Nowadays, you need over 200,000 points to get into the top 1,000 in Tempest Trials, and that's 4 times the amount you need to clear out all the rewards. If the points needed to get all the rewards was bumped back up to 100,000 or even 150,000, I think that'd give players more motivation to try aiming for top 1k since they already have a high score anyways. You know, for me, I do the 50,000 points and then I'm just done. And another issue I think this would fix is 50,000 points is actually quite low. For the most recent Tempest Trials, I was able to clear it on day 2. Again, just by auto-battling through the entire thing. So, just by auto-battling through there. And like I said, you're gonna need 4 times the amount you would to clear out all the rewards. And that's really boring and there's not much motivation to do. Yeah, you'll get some feathers, but I don't think it's really worth all the effort. Now let's move on to story mode, and oh boy, story mode is bad. The Asker Trio is so one-dimensional. There's very little character to all of them. It's very rare to see someone who actually legitimately likes someone like Alphonse, you know? Now, in Dragalia Lost, for the first raid event, there's a character called Celeria. This event lasted about 2 weeks, and in these 2 weeks, I feel we got more characterization for this side character than for the main 3 characters of Faye. And this game's been out for 1.5 years, and in 2 weeks, this character has gotten more development than the 3 of them combined, and that's not a good thing. You know, I would like for them to make us care about the Asuka trio more, because then they wouldn't be such a meme, you know? Like, Alphonse is a meme. They're all pretty much memes at this point, and that's not good. Let us have something to dig into when it comes to their characters. Well, why not talk about Alphonse not really seeing eye to eye with his father as much? Or talk about Sharena's mother? You know, stuff like that. That will get us invested into the characters. And hopefully they'll be able to do this in Book 3. Now, Book 2 for me was really disappointing. They had this really hype CG, but it was so poorly written. It would just kill off characters like no one's business for no reason. And the Book 2 ending was really rushed as well. So hopefully in Book 3, you know, they put a little bit more effort. You know, story modes are usually just the same thing. Whenever a new chapter comes out, it's just 3 lines of dialogue before a fight and then wash, rinse, and repeat. You know, I'm not asking them to have, like, Fate Stay Night levels of story writing, but at the very least, try a little harder to make the story more engaging. And that's all I have to say about that. And the last thing I want to talk about when it comes to PvE content is the Abyssal modes. More specifically, the Abyssal mode rewards. Now, Abyssal mode is kind of a mixed bag for me. Me personally, like I said, I enjoy challenge, so I like them for that. But Abyssal modes are challenging in the laziest way possible. Because the legendary hero battles specifically, because they have inflated stats and they have reinforcements coming in every turn in the literal most inconvenient spots all the time. If you go back to the original cycle of Grand Hero Battle units, their Abyssal modes are actually quite easy, and that's because they don't have reinforcements. So yeah, like I said, Abyssal mode is hard, but it's in a really lazy way. So I have mixed feelings on it. But the rewards, however, I don't think the golden accessories are worth the effort at all. Now hear me out on this. I see what they were going for with the golden accessories. You know, you beat Legendary Grima, and you kind of get the golden swim goggles as sort of like a trophy, you know, signifying that you overcame this tough obstacle. And I like what they were going for. But the thing is, the value of having that golden accessory goes down greatly when pretty much anyone can beat the Legendary Hero Battle because of free-to-play guides from Broto and Phoenix Master 1. And it's nothing against those two at all. Those two are great content creators. I even used Phoenix Master 1's Legendary Tiki guide because I could not for the life of me beat her Abyssal mode no matter how hard I tried. The thing is, it's just that if that's the route they were going for, it kind of got executed poorly. I think a better reward wouldn't be orbs, because I'll be honest with you, I spent 4 days trying to beat Legendary Grima. After spending that much time, if I got orbs and those orbs got me like a 3-star ride, I would throw my phone into orbit. No, I think a good idea for a reward for Abyssal modes would be seals, and premium seals. Like, imagine after being Legendary Grima, you get, like, Death Blow as a seal. Or after being Legendary Marth, you get Attack Speed Bomb. I think that would really make the effort worth it. And again, it wouldn't be locked to people with merges or whales or anything like that, because anyone will be able to do it thanks to the free-to-play guides. And in fact, getting those seals would actually help in free-to-play guides. Could you imagine how useful something like a Death Blow seal would be, or maybe even a Vantage seal? I think that would really make all the effort put into trying to beat the battles, you know, worth it. And that's all I have to say about the PvE content in this game. You know, it's not as bad as I think people are making it out to be, but it's just boring, you know? So they need to add in a new mode, add in something interesting, maybe even a raid battles or something like that. But now let's move on to the #1 thing that most players are having an issue with, and that's Arena. And the problem with Arena is that it heavily and I mean heavily, favors armored units. It's not fun seeing the same 6 armor units over and over and over again in Arena. It's not even about skill or strategy at this point, it's just about who has the most armored units. And the reason there's so many armored units is because Arena scoring is based off of units base stat total. And the player base has been asking for a fix to Arena for months now. And instead of actually fixing the Arena, IS decides to introduce the dual skills. Now, the dual skills are stupid. I don't believe we should go out of our way to summon for skills that fix Arena for us instead of IS actually fixing them themselves. And now I get a lot of people defending the dual skills, and their main argument is that dual skills give more variety in Arena, and I agree with you. But should we really rely on skills to give us more variety as to, again, the mode actually getting fixed? I don't want to spend like 100 to 200 orbs just so that my Selena could score as high as, say, a Sheena or a Winter Lissa. I think that's dumb. And another thing is that it's an A slot skill. Do you know how valuable the A slot skill is? I killed an Ike for steady breath on my Selena. I don't want to give that up just so she could score as high as a Sheena. If anything, they should have been seals or something. In fact, going back to what I said about the abyssal modes, why not give the dual skills as rewards? That would be a really good idea, in fact, I think. And one last thing is, since the dual skills are actual skills, I don't trust IS to handle them properly. And now, what I mean by that is, think about skills like the tactic skills. You have 3 units in the permanent pool with attack tactic. One of them is a 4-star, so it's pretty easy to get now. You only have 1 with defense tactic, being Shiro, and he's 5-star locked, but we have it as a sacred seal, so it's not a big issue. And then for res tactic, we have large shell at 4 stars and a seal, so it's pretty easy to get. And now, what I think would probably be the most desired of the tactic skill, speed tactic, is locked to Legendary Lyn, a limited unit who appears every 3 to 4 months. Don't get where I'm going with this? Let me give you another example. Bride Soniki. She introduced the Link skills into the game, and ever since then we've been getting Sumiya with attack defense Link, and Nina with res speed Link. Now, when the Link skills were introduced, the first thing people immediately thought of was, oh, attack and speed Link. That's going to be crazy. And they actually gave that to Odin's Grimoire. But the actual attack and speed Link skill is on Halloween Niles, a limited unit. Now do you see what I'm kind of trying to put on the table for you? I feel that in the not so distant future, let's say in the Christmas banner, there's almost no doubt in my mind that one of those units is going to have a dual skill. There isn't, and that's a very scary thought. I don't want something like colorless dual infantry or blue dual flying to be locked to limited units, because that would be absolutely ridiculous. I don't want to have to I don't want to have to spend that many orbs for a limited unit who's around for maybe a month. If we're lucky and they don't pull something like they did with the Winter Banner where it lasted 2 weeks. If it lasts a month, I don't want to summon for a limited unit just so my Felicia can score as high as a Sheena. I think that's dumb, and that's an obvious cash grab. So that would only benefit the whales. And as if these dual skills weren't bad enough, they just go ahead and release units with 180 BST. And you know, technically it makes sense. You have a trainee BST boost along with the armor BST boost, and you get 180 BST. So it makes sense, but the timing on it is just so poor. Why would you release these dual skills to bump up units BST if you're just gonna release units with new high BSTs? It's kind of ridiculous, you know? And eventually we're gonna get a green armored dragon with 180 BST and a colorless armored dragon with 180 BST, and maybe, God forbid, we'll get a unit with like 182 BST or 183 BST and slowly creep our way up to 185 BST or 190 BST, if that's the worst case scenario, and I hope it never gets to that point. Now, I keep talking about fixing Arena, but how would they actually go about doing that? And I have two answers to that. Answer number one would be to just completely exclude BST from the scoring in Arena. Now, if I recall correctly, Arena scores is based off of a unit's BST, the SP cost of their skills, and how many merges they have. So I think removing the BST aspect of that would be a good idea. So that would allow units like Saizo to score the same as units like Sheena. Since it'll only be based off of SP and merges, that'll allow someone like a +10 Saizo with rally up attack plus Aether, close counter, and whatever expensive skills to score as high as a Sheena with distant counter. And I don't think that this would harm whales as much too, because we have to remember whales are also part of the player base, and we have to take into consideration what problems would arise for them, because we want everyone to be satisfied with this new arena. And I don't think this would hurt them that much, and here's why. Since it would be based off of skills and merges, the two highest scoring units would be Brave Celica and Legendary Hector, naturally, because they come right out the gate with 300 BST skills. Now, whales already probably have a +10 Hector, so it wouldn't really affect them as much, I think. So who knows, that's just an idea I have. The only kind of downside I would see from scoring it off of a skill cost and merges alone is that Saizo wouldn't score as high as, say, someone like Jafar or Soth, and dancers would kind of get screwed over, because even if you have a +10 Ninian, she will score as high as an armor unit, but if that armor unit has something like rally up attack, then Ninian won't score as high as them, because dance and sing actually cost less than those skills. So they would be the only ones to kind of take a hit from it, but I think it would be a nice trade-off. And now, my second solution to the arena would just be to introduce a brand new mode in general, and this would be a sort of town building mode. Now again, in other gacha games or in other mobile games in general, you have a town management system where you can build buildings that give you certain boosts. I imagine that we can maybe build a building to give us more crystals from the training tower, to give us more badges. And where Arena would come into that is you would have character statues. Now, character statues were a thing in Fire Emblem Fates. If you built a statue for a character and you upgraded it, it would actually raise a specific stat up by 1. So I think something like character altars for heroes would be good. You can unlock let's say you can unlock the statues by getting a character to level 40 at 5 stars. And let's say for Selena, for example, her BST is lower than 160. So let's say the level 1 statue would be bumping it up to 160, the level 2 statue would be bumping it up to 165, and the level 3 statue would be bumping it up to 170. They could make it end at level 4 with Selena being able to score 175 BST. You know, I think that would be good. And, you know, just so that it's not, like, too easy to get it up to level 3 or to level 4, let's say it would cost you 2 orbs to upgrade it to level 2, 3 orbs to upgrade it to level 3, and if they do have a level 4, let's make it cost like 5 to 10 orbs, you know? I think that would be a fair trade-off, as opposed to spending possibly hundreds of orbs to try to get a Hellbindi or Lay Yarn or whatever unit has a dual skill. I think that'd be a really nice alternative, but we don't have a town building mode yet, if they ever do decide to include it. But if they do, I think that would have been a better solution than having skills that we have to spend orbs for. So those are my thoughts on the Arena BST. And now there are just some other nitpicks that I really don't like about Arena. And the number one would be the bonus unit kills. I don't know who thought of this idea, but it is so terrible, man. It's the most ridiculous sounding thing to me that I can't use my Selena in Arena because she's too good at killing. That's utter nonsense. Oh, you killed this legendary Hector? Hey, good job. He's a tough opponent. Oh, but you didn't do it with Sharena. -3 points. That's some nonsense, and I think they should just remove that entirely. either remove it or increase the bonus unit pool. Bump it up from 10 to 15 or maybe even 20. Because as it stands, 4 to 5 slots are taken up by the legendary hero and whatever new units are out. And then we get 2 slots for random 5-star characters like Saber or like Sanaki. Then we get 1 Grand Hero Battle unit. We get 1 unit that's from the 3 to 4-star pool. And then we get an Asker Trio unit or Fjorm. I think that's way too small. And I think we should bump it up to like 20 to kind of, you know, give people more variety. If you're not going to remove that feature, then at least make it, you know, easier for people to use. And another thing is that Arena uses way too many crests. Okay, I don't like spending 10 to 15 to sometimes even 20 crests, not swords, crests, just to get 1 match that's on the higher end of my score scaling. That's utter nonsense. If I'm able to get up to 740 points, I don't want to constantly be getting 728. It's so frustrating, and it will take me like half an hour to get a match with the highest amount of points possible. So I think what they could do for that is to just reduce the range, you know? If I recall correctly, the range is about 12 to 14. So like I said, my maximum score is 740. So my minimum score is 728. So bump the minimum score up to maybe like 732 or 734. Make the range 8 points instead of 12 points. Because it's utter nonsense, man. If you're not going to give me 740, at least give me something, you know, kind of close to it. 12 points is a massive difference if you're going to fight 5 matches in Arena. So please fix that. And the last thing I don't think is really harming Arena, is just more something I would like to be added, is Arena replays. You know, I would like to see how my defense team did against another player, you know, how they performed, even if it's a loss. That way I could be able to tweak my defense team to hopefully be able to get wins and get my defense points for that week. So that's it for the main issues of here. Now I'm just going to be listing off some things I would like to see in the game in general. These aren't needed, but these are just some things I think would be cool to add to the game. The first thing would be castle decorations. Let me tell you, dude, looking at the castle is so goddamn boring, man. You can't tell the difference between the castle in April and the castle in October. You know, it shouldn't take that much effort. Just throw a couple pumpkins here and there, and boom, you got a spooky castle. During the winter time, you know, have a snowman, have a snow like man face somewhere, you know, just spice it up a little bit, man. The castle is so boring to look at, man. I honestly can't tell that it's Halloween, that it's October in Heroes right now, man. And many other gacha games and other mobile games in general do this too, you know. They'll change the layout for this depending on the season to make things more lively. And I think that's a wasted opportunity. And the fact that the game is almost 2 years old and we still don't have any of that is a little bit ridiculous in my opinion. The next thing is that I would like to see some sort of co-op mode, whether it be like a raid battle or maybe like co-op Tempest Trials, something like that I think would be fun. I definitely don't want player versus player. That would be so trash, because it literally just be hours upon hours of players not wanting to make the first move. So please don't ever include that into the game. But something like co-op, like maybe having a Zephiel with like 100,000 HP, and we have a brigade of 4 to 8 players, and we each take turns attacking the Zephiel to get him down to a certain amount of health, and then the battle ends, and we go in again and try to lower ourselves as much as possible. Something like that, you know? I think that'd be nice. The only issue I could see with that is like players trolling and taking too long to do their turn. So something I'd suggest is putting a timer so that if it's the player's turn, they have like 2 minutes to make a move at the maximum. And the last thing I'd like to see in Heroes is bringing this back up, town building. We had a survey back in December of last year, and one of the questions was, would you like to see some, I believe one of the questions was, would you like to see some sort of town building mode, or a mode where you defend your town from enemies? And we do kind of have that mode in what is Rival Domains. What's the new mode? Relay defense, yeah, relay defense. But that's, you know, that's not really what we were looking for. It'd be nice to see, like, other players actually attacking our castles and we having to defend them, like in Fates. I think that'd be fun. And, you know, having a town management system would be good. Like I said, you could have altars to give us more badges, or altars to give us more crystals, or maybe even altars to give us more experience and stuff like that. You know, I think that'd be a nice touch to the game. So, like I said, these touches aren't exactly necessary, but I think they'd be nice to have. Okay, so I've spoken a lot about what intelligence systems can do to make the game better, but I want to remind you guys that we are just as responsible for the well-being of this game as the development team behind it. If you go to the miscellaneous section of the menu, then FAQ, and then customer support, you can leave IS feedback on what you like or dislike about the game. You can even give them recommendations for new modes, so be sure to let them know your thoughts on Arena or any other aspects of the game you're unsatisfied with. We know IS listens to us. Just a few months ago, we were saying how the 3-star pool needed more units, and IS delivered with the mass demote wave, so I'm certain that if we leave enough feedback and make our voices heard, they'll hear us. In fact, I'm almost positive they're hearing our voices now. With that being said, if you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for listening to me ramble about a mobile game for almost half an hour. I can't stress enough how much I enjoy Heroes. The entire idea is so romantic. I love being able to use some of my favorite characters like Selena, Erica, and Lynn all on the same team. And no matter what the 3.0 update brings, I don't really see myself dropping this game anytime soon. That just goes to show you how much I enjoy it, I guess. Once again, thank you so much for watching. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. I sometimes make Fire Emblem videos, so if you're into that, I think you'll have a good time. All the links to my social media and my Discord server will be in the description, so be sure to check those out. And with all that being said, I hope you have a wonderful day.